What's going on?
Stevie's already making fun of me. She's like, "Hello, dude." Well, just winning right now. You know, just
That don't look like an Eagles jacket.
gross. I would never do that.
Uh,
It's all about those cheese, baby.
the Chiefs.
Yes.
Man,
Yeah.
good.
Well, real quick, welcome everybody into the podcast. It's the official start to the YouTube portion for today. So, man, what a great day to have a podcast. You know,
Right?
I got to be honest with you. I planned something just in case. So if the Chiefs would have lost, I would have worn all Cardinal stuff to work today.
Oh yeah.
We're like, I'm not even talking about it. We're all about the Colts or all about the Chiefs today or Cardinals. Good Lord,
It's baseball time.
it's baseball time. Chiefs, Colts, Cardinals, whatever. There we
That's
go.
funny.
We can't do two things at once. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, man, you ready to go? You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, we're ready.
How you feeling on the show notes? I know we got a lot of stuff to cover today, but I think the main thing people are gonna want to talk about is the Super Bowl.
Oh, I thought we were going to mainly talk about the Oklahoma-Texas Levy.
I mean, we could do that too. That makes sense. That makes sense. I would like to point out that you heard it here first on the W podcast that it was going to happen
That's
early.
true.
We've been
Yeah.
saying this for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot that there was actually a game yesterday. I may have not watched the Super Bowl at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, you know me in sports. Not the biggest
Yeah,
fan.
you're like, I'll tune in next Sunday to the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm more ready for the XFL this coming weekend. Super Bowl.
Oh, I forgot about that already. Yeah. Well, what's up, Dan? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you coming in today, man.
What's up, buddy?
He's back again. Okay. I'll see how many meows my cat gets just over here, like just charged over here. Anyway, we have so much time left to record, like and post on the podcast itself. So I would say, do you want to just start it early and then just do the whole thing?
Might as well.
And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. We're ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back, everyone, to the W podcast. Jimothy here. I am super excited. What a Sunday that was. Super Bowl Sunday. Incredible day, right, Tubby?
It was a pretty great Super Bowl, honestly.
Right? Dude. I mean, two very complete teams is what it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice to have, like, usually in the Super Bowl, like even last year, I mean, the Bengals were a very good team, but did you feel like the Bengals were the best team last year in the AFC?
No, I mean, they definitely weren't the most complete team in the AFC. You had offensive line issues. Your defense was, okay, but it wasn't
Right.
stellar. And yeah, Grant, the Chiefs' defense during the regular season wasn't the best, but like we've been saying for the last 3-4 weeks, there's something different about a Spagnuolo defense when it comes to playoff time.
Man, and it was good. And we can get into the nitty-gritty details of that as we go on. But what I liked about the Super Bowl was it truly felt like the two best teams in each of the leagues made it to the end. And so you saw that on Sunday. And it was a very, very great game. Some people are saying the best Super Bowl of all time. I don't know if I'm there yet, but it was a pretty great Super Bowl. Very, very complete. I think that's the word for it. It's complete. With some really good commercials. One that I'm sure everybody was yelling about at the TV. I think all of us were. And on top of that, I feel like that you could have like everyone all of a sudden it was that Tubi commercial, right? It cut back to the broadcast in the fourth quarter. It's close. And then all of a sudden it looks like it's a smart TV. Someone's, flipping to turn on another just turn on Tubi, I guess. And it was great because everybody thought at every watch party thought of one person, right? You're like, who is that? And everybody looked and you immediately thought it was that one person. We had that at ours, and thankfully it wasn't me. So I'm curious. Anybody that's in the YouTube with watching us and joining us in the chat today, did you guys fall for that commercial? I mean, it was great.
I mean, me personally, honestly, I didn't really catch what they were doing. I saw it and I was like, oh, I know this isn't the real, broadcast. So it didn't really register. And then you text me and I was like, oh, I rewound it and I was like, what are they doing? I was like, oh, I bet you then people are like, oh man, someone turned the channel or someone changed it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Dude,
okay, that makes a lot more
texted-
sense.
Yeah, I texted a couple people, and they're all like, "Yeah, man, we were yelling. Who grabbed the remote? Who did what?" It was so funny. So I don't know.
That's
I
pretty
liked it.
funny.
It was different too. There was, I mean, what did you think of all the commercials and stuff? Did you watch the commercials with the volume on or no?
I mean, I do. I thought the commercials were kind of lacking this year.
Kind of lacking. Okay, you didn't like the rabbit hole creepy one?
Dude, that thing is creepy. I mean, you have giant rabbits picking people up and throwing them down a rabbit hole. I mean,
Yeah, that was weird.
granted, it is a Tubi commercial, but you didn't know that, and you didn't see the part where the TVs and all that stuff. You're probably at first going like, "This is some like sadistic like horror movie."
Yes.
And now you got like mutant rabbits picking people up and throwing them into their death.
To their death. So yeah, not excited about that. Yeah, there were some good ones. I was a little disappointed in the Dunkin' Donuts Ben Affleck. I love a good Dunkin' Donuts commercial that's Boston centric. I love it, and this one was okay. But overall, there's some good ones. These ones, the 2B one will live on forever in my mind, though. Got me good.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's some good ones, but usually, I think the last like 3 or 4 years, the commercials have lacked compared to what they were. Where they, you're always like, oh, I'm ready for the commercial, see some funny ones, and there just hasn't been a whole lot of funny ones the last few years.
I know. Did you hear about what's the owner for the Mets? What's his name?
Cohen.
Yeah, Cohen, Steve Cohen. Yeah, he was saying that he wanted to have an ad for the Mets. I didn't see one, but he had talked about it because he had said he wants, because you could be around the world, you could be in a different state, a different country, wherever, and you'll see a New York Yankees hat. And honestly, people don't even realize that it's a Yankees hat most of the time. They just think it's a logo. It's a brand, right?
Yeah.
And he wants the Mets logo to be the same. And so that was his thought process behind trying to do a commercial. Bro,
it
won't work.
Yeah, there's like maybe 3 or 4. It's mainly baseball that are like that. You got the Dodgers, you got the Yankees. The Braves seems to be a big one too. And maybe the Cubs, if you want to throw them in there, just the C.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and it's mostly it's Dodgers and Yankees. I mean, that's the main thing, and then an occasional Boston Red Sox. I think you could see, but that's really it. Most everybody else, like you said, it doesn't happen. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Bandwagon, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, thanks for joining the show. Coming back again. Jeez, this is good. This is gonna be good. So today it is mostly a Super Bowl centric show. We will get over some other news and notes. We'll get them out of the way. Some things that happened, but mainly it's going to be the Super Bowl. And we got so much time left over right now for this month because it's a short month. Like October, I was looking forward to. October has like 5 Mondays in it. So we're going to have to be focused on how much record time we can post for the podcast itself. But this month, we got a lot of extra time. So we just went ahead, we're going to go ahead and put all of this on the podcast. So you're welcome, everybody, if you're downloading the podcast. And just think all this bonus stuff that you could have missed out on if you normally if you don't head over to YouTube. So it's a great day to head over to the YouTube page to subscribe to the channel. And then, you can just join us. You can join in the chat. We always love a good question.
And then if you subscribe, you're now entered for the chance at the free jersey.
Free jersey. And we did make that announcement. It is out there. We do have we got a couple extra subscribers this week, so I'm excited. And we have something new coming up, debuting a brand new logo for the podcast.
Oh
snap. Yeah. Yep. So it looks way better than the old. I mean, I love the old one. I really do.
Yeah. I do too.
But I love the new one too. So
yeah,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah. I know.
So real quick, what was the best dish that you guys had for the watch party?
See, my mom makes like the best 7-layer dip.
Okay.
And
what's in all 7 layers?
So it's completely different than most people's 7-layer dip. So ours is bean dip, guacamole. Then it's like a mixture of sour cream, Miracle Whip, and taco seasoning.
Oh.
And then you got your lettuce, tomato, cheese, and black olives.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It does sound good. The Miracle Whip I'm not a huge fan of, but in that context, maybe it's better.
You don't taste the Miracle Whip. It's more like
it's a holding agent.
Yeah, you don't taste the Miracle Whip by itself. You just taste like this, like kind of like taco-y, taste with the mixed with the taco season. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Okay. Yeah, we had Stephanie made this like I don't know, they're like little pastry type things, but like crescent rolls, and then on
Uh-huh.
those she put in barbecue and some cheese. It was really good. It was
Oh,
delicious. Lots
nice.
of barbecue sauce. So those were great. And then someone else at this watch party I went to, they had like this cold pasta. Ooh, I love a good cold pasta. I know it's weird. Stephanie
Mhm.
thinks it's disgusting, but
Yeah.
it was so good. It had like noodles, and then it had like olives and bell peppers and oil vinegar. It was just so good. It was super good. So I would have eaten
Yeah.
that the whole time, except I think I would have gotten judged.
Yeah. I love pasta salad,
Yeah,
macaroni
that's what it
salad.
was. Yeah, pasta salad.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't think of the
Oh
word.
yeah. Love me a good pasta salad.
Yeah. So, and then yesterday we got home, so we watched it over near where I work, which is like 15 minutes from downtown. And
Hmm.
we get home, and this is. I hope this is fine. You're just gonna hear the audio constantly. This was all it was. Lots of people with banners that say "Go Cheese, let's go!" People
Yeah.
revving their engines. This was right by our house for a good, couple hours.
That's awesome.
So that video that my wife took is actually just a minute long. Our dog was freaking out.
Yeah, I bet.
He did not enjoy all the honking. What's wrong?
Now the question is, are you going to go to the parade
What do you
on
think?
Wednesday? I'm guessing yes.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
We will be there. We already knew. So when I moved here, there's a hotel nearby where we stay, and so I know one of the valets there. Well, most
Oh
of the
yeah.
valets there. They're really cool guys that work really hard. And one time early on, we were talking about Chiefs, and they were talking about the Super Bowl parade and how crazy it was. So there was estimated 800 to 1,000 to 1,000,000 people down here. That's insane. And they said, yeah, you couldn't go anywhere. So living where we live, they just won the Super Bowl. The parade's almost in the same spot that it was last time, and where it ends is less than it's like a block and a half away. Like it's right there. So he's like, yeah,
Nice.
you're not gonna be able to move your car, just so you know. I was like, so I'm going.
Yeah. Well, you can't get to work, so might as well just go to the parade.
But the coolest part about it is, so like our office, like we're all gonna go to the parade.
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal. And then schools here, they're canceled. It's a snow day, and
Snow day.
everyone's going to the parade. Lots of offices, they're closed for, like the libraries are
Yeah.
closed for community day, community celebration day.
I
That's what
love
it
it.
is. So it should
That's
be a lot
awesome.
of fun. Unfortunately, my wife does have to work that day. So she's gonna have to figure out a way to get out of here. And if you
Oh,
know anything about Chiefs fans, they were rated the best tailgate experience in the country in the league this year. Not only for the food, but just the dedication. So just imagine all of those people now coming as early as possible to get a good to get a good spot. I almost said
Yeah.
seat. You're just gonna be standing up here for this parade. So and then it's gonna end. It ends where the draft is gonna be. How about that?
Man.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Just
I've been waiting. I'm just waiting for the tickets to go on sale so I can see if
see
I
what
will
the
be able to
prices.
make it to up there for the draft.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if it's all inside. Like it's a big space. So if it's inside, I
Mhm.
get it.
Mhm.
If it's partially outside, I don't know what it's going to be like yet. I know they had some renderings of what it could look like. So
Yeah.
I have a friend, huge Chiefs fan, lives in Kansas City on the Kansas side, moving back to Oklahoma, and he's going to come back for the draft because
For the draft.
he just cannot wait. So and then I have another
Yeah.
friend who he might come. I don't know. It'd be cool. He's a big NFL guy. So
Nice.
it's just nice that it's here. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. I know. I had a chance to go to the one down in Dallas. Wasn't able to go, and so I'm like, this one's real close. And I was talking to my dad about it. He's like, yeah, I think I'd like to go. And I'm like, well, we might have to make it a trip. Go up there for. I mean, I would much rather just go up there for the first day at least.
Mm-hmm.
Night
Oh
one,
yeah, day one.
first round. Yeah, but
You're kind of
we'll
guy
see.
though that would do well for day 1, 2, and 3. Like just I mean I know
Oh,
everything.
yeah,
You'd
I
be
would have
nailed it.
I'd have a day. Bring up my sheets. Oh, that guy's gone.
Yep. A little early, bit of a stretch.
Yeah. I had him in the 6th round. I took him in the 4th. A little bit of a reach.
Man, I would have loved to see your in-person reaction last year to the Packers draft when you were like, nope, didn't like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The Quay Walker was awful. The more you look at it, he played pretty good. I was happy about the Devontae Wyatt one. I wanted Devontae Wyatt, and he played the worst out of the two.
which is surprising. But
Yeah.
that happens, though. I mean, I don't think anybody expected the Chiefs secondary of rookies to perform nearly as well as they did all year long, and they did. So we'll get more to that here in a second. So I guess before do you want to do the news and notes at the end because this is a Super Bowl centered episode? What do you think? You think we'll just go through the Super Bowl, see what we have time for at the end?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, everybody, buckle in. And if you're in the chat, I'd love to hear. What did you think of the game? Did you have any gut feelings? What were your predictions? I do want to start with one thing. I sent you this text. Didn't I send you a text before the game?
Maybe.
Right before the predictions, the broadcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay. So if you didn't see the broadcast before it started, where did it go? There it is. So the broadcast, it was on Fox. Jimmy Johnson had Eagles by 7. Michael Strahan, Eagles by 10. I mean, those are two NFC East guys. It makes sense. Howie, okay, he doesn't like the Chiefs probably.
Yeah,
right?
He's right.
He probably doesn't like the Chiefs. But Eagles by 4. And then Terry Bradshaw, a Steeler, also picked Eagles by 3. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. All of them? All week long.
Terry was like, man, everyone's picking the Eagles. Maybe I should switch my pick to the Chiefs.
Didn't do it.
Yeah. It's whenever about 90% of the time, the whole panel picks one team to win, especially in like big games like this, it's going to be the other team that wins. So
yeah,
Eagles lost right there.
Well, yeah, what was crazy to me is obviously, we talked about last week, Madden had the Eagles winning by 2 scores. And then the Chiefs ESPN had them 53% chance winning, but the Eagles were the favorite by 1.5. So like all of that being said, like it was crazy. Bandwagon. Yeah. I was going to say, the Chiefs and the over under was 51. This one went way over.
Yeah.
I mean, it went over quick. So I say quick. It was in the second half in the third quarter, but still the offense really showed up. So biggest overarching theme, they asked it at the end of the episode. So we probably should ask it at the end of this conversation, but I want to start with it because we've had this conversation before about baseball a little bit. They asked, Terry Bradshaw asked Patrick Mahomes, is this a dynasty? What did you think?
I think that I think it's the start of a dynasty. I feel like you need one more in this era. But the thing is that the 5 years that he has been the starter, they've made it to the NFC Championship every single year, made it to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. So I wouldn't, if someone wanted to call it a dynasty, I wouldn't disagree at all, because I think you could make a really good argument about it being a dynasty. But I would like to see him win one more, and I think in the realm of everything, it's very, very, very likely that it will happen. At least in the next 3 to 4 years, we'll see the Chiefs probably win another one, because the defense, I think, is the biggest thing, is that you got Trent McDuffie, you got Bolton, you've got Karlaftis, you've got all these young guys in the secondary. In Willie Gay, I mean, he's still on third year in the league or something like that. Dana, he's like a 3-year pro. You got all these young guys, and then you throw Chris Jones in there still. If they keep developing, and they played really good this year, better than I was expecting them to. If they keep developing, the defense is going to be that much better too, along with having Patrick Mahomes and a couple more years of Travis Kelce. And so really the next biggest thing for them is going to be, can they keep that offensive line together? And that's going to be their biggest, question this off season. But if you can, maintain that, your defense is, going to be really solid. And then you have Patrick Mahomes. You're built for a Patriots-like dynasty.
Yeah.
With Patrick Mahomes.
Built for a dynasty and a dynasty are two different things for me. So for me, I am not going to say they are a dynasty yet. And I'm on the record on the podcast saying that, you know what, I don't think you can do it with just 2 championships. And I don't think you can do it. The other stipulation is you have to compete every year, which they have done. Like you said, they've competed every single time for it. And last year nearly were in the Super Bowl again. So for me, they got to get that third, and they got to get a third at least, next year or the year after that. And as long as they compete in that next year, then yeah, okay, you can call it a dynasty at this point. Right now, I would say they are an AFC dynasty, much like I would say the Astros are an AL dynasty in baseball, because Astros got one title, one legit title, but they've won the AL so many stupid times by now, it's annoying. And you just look at like what the NL has done, and there's almost been another, a different World Series person every single representative every single year. So it's a little different. So I don't know. It's just not a dynasty yet, but it has the makings of one. And you're right. I mean, two of the biggest things that we saw was Patrick Mahomes, the highest paid quarterback ever to make the Super Bowl, but he also won it. We had never seen someone with that salary make it. And that was always the thing, is you got to win early with these great quarterbacks because they're going to get paid, and then you're not going to be able to afford anybody else. Well, we just saw it worked. We just saw that for the first time.
Yeah. But there is the difference, though, with Patrick Mahomes and compared to a lot of these other ones, is that the way his contract is set up, it is more team friendly than it looks, numbers wise. Because it is so, there's a lot of deferred money towards the end of that contract and towards the end of his career. He's going to get paid after he retires. He set it up, like the Bobby Bonilla type thing. And so that helps a lot with the cap for right now, over these years for the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs are, like I said, they're going to have to make some decisions this year. Orlando Brown, are you going to pay him his money that he wants? And Andrew Wiley, he's going to be another. You got your 2 starting tackles. You're going to have to pay, and can you pay both of them? And that'll be, I don't know. Yeah. And you've got, Juan Thornhill in the secondary, you're going to have to pay. And so there's a few things that you're going to have to do, but like I said, you're set with the defense. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got Kelsey for a few more years, I would imagine, depending on how long he decides he wants to play. But man, you are set for it. But the one thing I can see that could possibly topple it, and it's Andy Reid. And it's not that you can't win with Andy Reid, it's can you win without Andy Reid? And
I understand. Like if he retires,
he did come forward and say, if they will have me, I'll play. I'll come back next year. And I honestly thought that there was a good chance. You won the Super Bowl this year, go out on top. There's a very realistic possibility that it could happen. But at least it sounds like you got him for at least one more year. But depending on who they bring in and who's the replacement for him in the next couple of years, can he be that guy? Because Andy Reid is a difference maker. Whether people want to well, the coach doesn't play, Andy Reid proved last night that he is the best coach in the NFL right now. And I said it last week, and he proved it making those second half adjustments like he did. The offense was kind of lackadaisical in the first half. Second half, they came out and they realized something in the man defense from the Eagles, that they weren't covering the flats very well. And we've seen 2 wide open touchdowns on these motions and fake sweeps, getting the defense off kilter, and corner letting the guy release, thinking, oh, he's gonna go screaming across. He's gonna no, it's in. We've seen 2 really wide open touchdowns, and that was all Andy Reid. He noticed that in the first half, and he's like, okay, we're going to go to exploit it. And that was the difference maker. Him and Spagnuolo made those adjustments at halftime, and they were adjustments that the Eagles weren't able to adjust to on the fly in the second half. And Andy Reid proved it right there to me that he is the best coach in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he is. And I think he's also cemented that when he goes to the Hall of Fame, because he's a Hall of Fame head coach for sure, he'll be as a Chief. He will not forget the Eagles that we started with, but he'll go in as a Chief. Because remember, that Eagles team made 5 NFC championships in a row, which is insane.
Yeah. And only made 1 Super Bowl. and lost.
Yeah, which is crazy, and then lost on a last-second field goal to the Patriots dynasty. So,
Yep.
just on the other end of it. So, Marcus put this in the chat just now on the YouTube, and it was great. He says Tony and Pacheco can be the future of the Chiefs offense. I will definitely agree with Pacheco. Love Pacheco. Give him the ball more. We can get more into the stats here a little bit on that, but absolutely love the way he runs. He is mean. Now, how long of a future is that? Is that 3 years? Is it 6 years? I think it's closer to the 3 than the 6 just because of the timeline. But if he can stay healthy, then it could be close to the 6. Tony, same thing. Got to stay healthy. But next year, if you are looking for Chiefs fantasy draft advice, other than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce that everyone's always thinking of, it's those two guys. Those are the two that I want to get my hands on because they look like difference makers, especially with the Chiefs. Like you mentioned, other guys that they got to get signed. The guys that Juju may do a team-friendly deal to come back, but I think obviously the other guy, what's his face? Mecole Hardman, he's out. I mean, there's no reason to keep the guy. So
I would totally agree on Pacheco. I love Pacheco. He was my dark horse guy when we did the fantasy. I was like, man, if you have a spot at the end of the draft, last round, second to last round, that's the guy you take because it wasn't going to be. He's going to show me right now. It was towards the end of the season. And that's what happened. We saw Pacheco start getting the ball more, and the way he ran. I love the physicality and the fearlessness he runs with the football. And how long does that, translate to an NFL career? Maybe not long, but at least, next year and the next couple of years, you've got you a running back that has the speed, the power, the hands, everything that the Chiefs need in a running back. Now, Tony, I'm more reserved on Tony. I wasn't a big fan of Tony coming out going into the draft, and I feel like seems like he got his attitude issues, his ego in check a little bit with Andy Reid, and that's something Andy Reid is really good at doing is making them check their ego at the door, and hopefully they come in. But yeah, like you said, injury wise, and I'm still not sold on Tony. I saw more glimpses that he could be a really good player, but we'll see. But yeah, like you said, those guys next year, fantasy wise, are going to be the two besides Mahomes and
besides the
Kelce that you're going to be targeting.
Yeah. Well, I think we spent probably close to 10 minutes on the Chiefs real quick. We got to transition a little bit to the Eagles, and then we can kind of do some of the breakdown of the game itself. But overall for the Eagles, a lot of people said that this, like we talked about this last week. I think it was, hey, is this Eagles team really that good? Because look at who they played. And so I saw something else that it was, and so coming into the game, I would have definitely raised my hand and said, I agree to that. We looked at their schedule, and they had not played a legit quarterback. I mean, they beat you look at their team, and they beat just hardly anybody quarterback-wise. So I would like to point out, though, that I saw that team in that game, and there's no way that you can say that team wasn't legit. That team was legit. Like, they came out ready to play.
Randolph, what's up, buddy? Yeah, no, I agree. But see, I wasn't quite on that fence going, oh, wait, they haven't played anyone. I was under – I thought, okay, yeah, they haven't played anyone, but when they didn't, they beat them, and they beat them handedly. And that showed me more than going, oh, well, they didn't play a quarterback, like that. They played the bad teams, and they beat the bad teams bad, like they should have. They won the way they should have. And so that to me, I was like, I'm not so worried about that. But like you said, they hadn't seen a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, you ain't going to see like a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, but at least you didn't see someone like a Burrow or an Allen or, someone like that caliber throughout the playoffs or throughout the season. And so I could see where people had their reserves, but I was still under the concept that, man, they went out and they beat everyone they were supposed to, and they lost a few games whenever Hurts was hurt. And then the one game that they lose to the Commanders, they had like 4 fumbles, and none of it was Jalen Hurts' fault. It was the guys around him fumbled the football in timely situations. So yeah, I believe was 100% believe that was the best team in the NFC, and it wasn't close, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. And then you look at the teams going into next year when you're going to have Aaron Rodgers possibly. Yeah. It sounds like the Jets really are in on him right now. And where he ends up, we don't know yet. But you look at the NFC South, and they're abysmal. you can't really trust anybody in the NFC East right now other than the Eagles because of the quarterback situations. And we don't think Dak Prescott is actually that good. He could be, but he's not. And then they saw that coaching thing in Dallas. So don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. And then you look at the NFC West, and bro, outside the quarterback list, 49ers, I don't know. I really think so. You look at these Eagles, and this could be the start because of the way they are. I mean, now they're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts at some point. And this is a great question by Brenner619. He just asked, do you think the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl again with Hurts? And my answer is yes. Based off the dynamics of the NFC right now, I 100% agree. This could be the potential of something great, especially the way they play the football game. Now, I do want them to run the ball more with Miles Sanders is out the door. Like he's a free agent, but they got to find a running back to be able to run the ball to take some of the pressure off of Jalen Hurts being their running back. But the way they set up, once they cross the 50-yard line and it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, they're not looking to get a first down. They're looking to make it half, right? So let's get it from 3rd and 8 to 4th and 4, and we're going for it. And he plays the game so different, almost like Madden. And you're like, but he does it, and he calls a great game. I think they only had 2 punts in that whole game for the Eagles, and it was – they did a great job.
Yeah, I love Nick Sirianni. I know some people it's going to rub him the wrong way, the way he talks and, acts, on the field. He's just a fiery guy. He's a head coach that loves the game of football. And this is, a little sidetrack. The people that were, making fun of him or all that stuff are crying during the national anthem. This is the biggest game he's ever coached in his life. Who isn't going to be emotional going into this? Your whole life as a coach, what led up to that one thing, you wanted to coach a Super Bowl game. Yeah, he wants to win, but man, he made it there. And of course, emotions are going to run over. I would be, hard pressed not to cry myself. You saw Jason Kelce; he's won one, and he almost was in tears during it.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize that they put so much of their life into getting to that point in their life, in their career. Why aren't you going to be emotional about it? So, all right, whatever. That aside, I love Nick Sirianni. I love Jalen Hurts. I think that in the next couple of years, the NFC is going to be theirs unless someone else makes something move. Like you said, quarterback play, Aaron Rodgers. I would say it's probably 99%. Aaron Rodgers is either retiring or he's not going to be a Packer. And I don't think there's any chance that he's going to be a Packer. So I think you throw Aaron Rodgers out of there. We're both not sold on Brock Purdy.
No, the one time he actually has to play against a real defense, he starts to struggle.
Yeah,
in the moment.
I think the Geno thing was a fluke. I'm not sold on Geno. I think there's only one other quarterback, and it's if they can get a coach that can get him motivated to play, and it's Kyler Murray. With the dynamic ability that he has. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. You don't have a coach that can go in there and motivate him to play. So yeah, you look at the NFC East. Yeah, you got the big questions. Can he get back to not turning the ball over all the time? And can't count on Kirk Cousins. Justin Fields is another one, but they have a lot of work to do to build around.
I don't even
Justin
know if they
Fields.
want Justin Fields.
And
new coaching structure. They're like, well, this ain't our guy. Why? If we got the number 1 pick. Maybe we want a different guy.
And if that's the case, you're done. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get too much into this yet because we'll get there. But I think Justin Fields is better than any of the quarterbacks in this class, and it's not close. If he was in this draft class, it would have been 100% Justin Fields would be the number 1 pick. And so you wanting to move him and try to get a Bryce Young. Bryce Young isn't going to hold up to that. With that offensive line, Bryce Young is going to struggle and be out of the league in the next couple of years because he's a smaller guy. Yeah, he's like not. Tua. Yeah, he's not built for that. He cannot take the hits. The guy is small in stature, and he's not athletic, so he can't scramble, get out of the pocket. The differences between him and Kyler Murray, about same size, stature, everything. He doesn't have the ability that Kyler Murray has. So he needs to go somewhere that has a already proven, at least a solid offensive line. Doesn't have to be, best, but, someone that can protect him. That's not Chicago. I think Stroud has a chance to be a really good quarterback, but I just don't think that he's on that level with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if that's the case, you lose Tom Brady, you're losing, a lot of these big time quarterbacks that are fading off. Stafford, what happens there? Can he come back? I just think he's at the end of his career, and we've seen the best we've seen from him, and it's just going to keep getting worse each year. Kirk Cousins, don't trust him. Goff, can't trust him. So there's no one besides Jalen Hurts that you can trust in the NFC. The big thing for the Eagles is they're going to have to get younger, especially on the defensive side of the football. Darius Slay's getting up there in age. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. You got some older guys in the secondary, and so you'd be able to develop some younger guys, or you're signing some younger guys or whatever. But you have the makeups to be the team that runs. Not say the Chiefs where you're constantly in contention. You're making to the conference championship game every year, but a team that's has that chance every single year to do it with Jalen Hurts. And so you get a running back in there. This year's running back class of the draft is loaded with running backs. And so you go get one of those second round, maybe late first round, if you don't have a lot of holes to fill. If there's a Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs at the end of the first round, I would take them.
Yeah.
But so, I think that it's the Eagles, NFC, and there's a lot of teams that are going to be chasing them for a couple of years.
Yeah, and the free agent class for running backs is always kind of a bit of a gamble anyways. You don't want to overpay for someone. Saquon Barkley's one of those guys. He's a big name, but he's already said, hey, I want to stay in New York. Kareem Hunt's out there, Rashad Penny, Jamal Williams, who just scored a ton of touchdowns. 17 touchdowns on the year. That's incredible. Josh Jacobs, who is definitely out of Las Vegas. So, but he's going to want to get paid. And I don't know how much money you're going to want to spend on that when you still got to pay Jalen Hurts. So, other than that, there's, just a Deonta Foreman is a decent one. And, Samaj J.P. Ryan, there you go. Miles Sanders, obviously, we already mentioned him. So, there's not like this is a great time to go sign a free agent. This is a great time to go find a backup.
I think if you're going to sign one, try to get a value guy. David Montgomery's that guy. But from what it sounds like, David Montgomery wants more than a lot of teams are going to offer him. So, if I'm the Eagles, I'm not re-signing Miles Sanders. I'll let him walk, and then at least you still got Gainwell, who not every down back, but he's still solid back. Boston Scott, same thing. But there's so many running backs in this draft that you can go and get you a day one starter, and running back is the easiest transition in football, and so it's easy to go out there and pluck a guy, and even if he's only good for a couple of years, it's still better than signing Miles Sanders to a $10 to $11 million contract.
Yeah, and if you look at Miles Sanders, 4 years in the league, only 2 of those has he played every game. The other ones he's missed 4 games or 5 games. And you look at this year, 11 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, plus, he didn't really catch the ball much, but that's pretty great rushing yards. But you look at the years before that, it was 750, 860, 800, and 9 total touchdowns. So I think that reality of what you'd see is 5 touchdowns and you'd see 800 yards. And are you willing to pay that for $10 million? I just don't think you are. No. So there are some room for improvement, but the coaching staff, the people they have in place, they did lose DC, right? He's out.
No, offensive
coordinator's out. Yeah, sorry, but the mindset that you already have on the team is there. So this team looks like they should be able to start the league as the favorite in the NFC this year for sure. Jalen Hurts, though, in this game, he was everything for this team. I say that, but Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert, all 3 played a great game as well.
But, man, the placement on some of those passes from Jalen Hurts, it was incredible to see the amount of improvement he's had over the last couple of years in throwing the football, because that was the big question, for Jalen Hurts. Can he throw the football? And just the amount of improvement he's had and the hard work he's put in, you saw it right there, all on display in the biggest game in football. Some of those windows he was fitting it in, the touch he had on the ball was just incredible. And I love it for him, because there's so many people at the beginning of this season that were like, even the Eagles organization, they're like, we're not sure if this is our guy. And I love it, because I saw Jalen Hurts and I was like, I thought this year was the year that Jalen Hurts was going to prove everyone wrong. And I think that's someone you can never count out, because he's such a hard worker. He doesn't, get, all in the limelight and all that other stuff. He puts his nose down and works. And those are the kind of guys you want to root for. Those guys that go out there and they try their hardest and they practice as hard as they can. They work out as hard as they can just to get better each year. And so, man, the 300 yards, passing touchdown, three rushing touchdowns, first quarterback in NFL in Super Bowl history to have 3 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown in a single game. 70 yards rushing. I mean, he was the offense for them. Miles Sanders didn't really have a great game. Run wise, they weren't able to run the ball except for Jalen Hurts.
Except for him. Yeah, and Hurts 15 carries is a lot. Not all of those were scrambles. Some of those were designed runs, and they were well done. But that was, I think, the biggest reason. I mean, the time of possession, you're like, how in the world? They were doing with a lot of good passes.
Yeah.
Again, Hurts this season completed a great percentage of his passes, and 27 to 38, and obviously one of those was that throwaway at the very end.
Yeah.
So he was just hitting everything, it felt like, and they were just moving the ball, staying in bounds, and they were long, methodical drives. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, it was, hey, it's 3rd and 6. We're just trying to get to 4th and 3. That's all we're trying to do. And then they would do it and run again. So what do you have, like 4 or 5 of those carries were just QB sneaks where he got them all. And that's because that offensive line really was the best. Now, I think they gave up 2 sacks, which I thought was one of those. I think was technically it was the fumble he had. They credited him with the sack.
Strip sack.
Going to get sacked. So, but I loved it because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, no sacks.
Yep.
I mean, you can hang your hat on that right there. I mean, especially coming into it, we talked about the trenches and what it was going to be like. And that's not the difference maker necessarily, but is it with that fumble?
When we were making the predictions last week, I said it's going to come down to the both sides of the trenches, the Eagles offensive line, Eagles defense line versus the Kansas City offense line and the Chiefs defense line, and the Chiefs showed up. I mean, Andrew Wiley had an incredible game. He manhandled Reddick the whole game. Guy was 2nd in the league in sacks this year. Didn't even sniff the quarterback.
Nope.
And in that offensive line, it was incredible the way that they were able to keep Patrick Mahomes, especially once he re-aggravated the injury, able to keep him clean most of the game. I mean, he took a few hits, but never took a sack. I mean, the offensive line for the Chiefs, it was the difference maker, honestly, to me in that game, because you don't keep Patrick Mahomes clean. You're talking about a team that had the 3rd most sacks ever in a single NFL season, and you don't get 1 sack. You're averaging 4 sacks a game in the postseason.
And those are huge difference makers for sure.
Yeah, and especially when you got a hobbled quarterback that can't, quite get out of the pocket like he normally does, but they were able to stand up and go, okay, we're going to keep our guy clean and let him just, do his thing. And it was incredible the way that they were able to just own that side of the football that we weren't. I mean, I shouldn't say we weren't, but I think we knew that there was a good chance that they could, because they were the number 1 pass blocking win rate in the NFL against the number 1 pass rush win rate in NFL, and someone had to lose. Someone had to win that battle, and the Chiefs, that offensive line, won that battle.
Yeah, it did win, but it was, dude, it's one of those like this, in boxing, the scorecards like 10-9-8, 10-7 or something like that. Like it felt like this was like 10-10 for the longest time. Oh, I guess it's 10-9, and it's winner by decision. It's not like by a knockout. No one got knocked out in this one, but you're right, like absolutely won. And real quick, Leonard, I love you said football's over. Let's talk about Dodgers. Hey, man, we're gonna get there. You're gonna love the show here. We're going there. But he did follow it up with 1 more week is warranted because of this. So, so I got a quick trivia stat for you. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
You talked about this earlier. So the Chiefs' second half adjustments, what they did, play calling was great. I mean, just the way they set up that first touchdown of the fake motion across and then dig back right out and just walk into the end zone was beautiful. And it's set up by Kadarius Toney in motion a couple of times. In the second half, of the total yards the Chiefs could have gained, that number is 230. So you start a possession. This is how many yards you can gain. How many did they gain in the second half? The only way to get all. So, for example, if the yard a kickoff, take it from the end zone.
The
75
25,
yards
yeah.
is the max,
Okay.
right? So how many total yards could they have gained was 230. How many of that 230 did they get in the second half?
227.
So it technically could have been 230 had they actually gone in the end zone.
Oh, okay.
Smart. He kneeled it at the 2. So
yeah.
it was 221 once they kneeled down 2 more
So then
times.
2 more times.
But the only reason why it wasn't 230 was because they're like, listen, there's literally nothing they can do. We have to run the clock out.
Yeah. Given no
that
time.
is incredible. Did you see the QBRs for the two guys?
Yeah. I mean, what was it? Mahomes is 131, 133, something like that.
That was his quarterback rating. Yeah. His passer rating. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't see the passer rating.
Passer rating is 131.8. Perfect is 153.8, I think.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts is also over 100. Both great.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts' QBR was 79.7. Pretty good. The thing that hurt him the most on that was just that fumble. Yeah, that one really hurt. Patrick Mahomes' QBR was 96.4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, and people, it should have been Jalen Hurts that won the MVP. Patrick Mahomes, the yardage may not look like it, but the guy threw 6 incompletions. He had 3 passing touchdowns. He had 200 yards total if you count the rushing yards.
Yeah, 250.
So, I mean, you can't not give it to the guy. I mean, he willed that. And on top of that, he did it on 1 foot again.
I know. We were all a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
A little nervous.
So, okay, I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
So, we're talking second half, but I'm going to go more just to the fourth quarter. So, Patrick Mahomes has played in 97 games in his career, including the playoffs.
Okay.
And how many of those games was the team either winning or within 1 score heading into the fourth quarter? He played 97. Yeah, he's played 97 games.
94.
91.
Oh, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, 96% of the time he's either winning or within 1 score heading into the fourth quarter. And that's what, whenever you saw everyone picking the Eagles by 10, by 14 and all that stuff, was like, nope, this game's going to be close because Patrick Mahomes just doesn't get blown out. And when he is getting blown out, they come back and win the game, or at least they get it close. I mean, look at the Texans game, in the playoffs, a couple years ago. They were down by 24, 20, some points.
Yep.
And we're all like, okay, well, Chiefs are out. And nope, Patrick Mahomes, leads them back. Yeah. And so, whenever I saw those, they're going to win by 10, they're going to win by 14, double digits. People saying, they're going to win by 18. I was like, what? What are we watching the same football?
It's Patrick Mahomes, and he was one of the biggest difference makers in the game. I mean, you're right, and he just, going to that second half, if it wasn't for the fumble 6, if the Chiefs don't miss that field goal, the score should have been 31-10. Eagles win.
Yeah,
31-10. I mean, they had the ball forever. They're doing everything right. Instead, it was, I think, 24-14, right?
Yeah,
24-14, and the Chiefs. And I told you my biggest fear was the time of possession. Like I was like, the defense is going to be gassed. They can't do anything. They gave up 11 points. That was it.
Yep.
And part of that was at the last minute and the 2-point conversion. Late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, it was incredible second half. Patrick Mahomes, but a good friend of mine, huge Chiefs fan. He goes, Chiefs down by 10 at halftime. I've seen this before. I'm okay. And he was calm and cool. And here he was. He wasn't wrong. I mean, sure enough, they come back, they win it.
And I think we texted back and forth, and I was like, they have to get Pacheco moving the ball. And Pacheco, second half, was moving the football for him, and was a big I don't think we can overemphasize the adjustments that Andy Reid made. I mean, it won them the football game. That right there, that second halftime, that was the game. And Andy Reid knew exactly what he needed to do to go out there and win that game. And they went out and executed it perfectly and won. It was I feel like everyone's talk, Mahomes did this, Andy Reid is the biggest catalyst for what they did. And he doesn't get enough credit for that game, especially the second half. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of nerding out about it because I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he's
Yeah.
done. And especially that game alone, and in the big games in the playoffs, is whenever we started picking, the postseason for the games and stuff like that, and everyone's counting the Chiefs out already, and I was just like, I can't. It's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is that good. He is a first ballot Hall of Fame coach, and will go down as one of the best coaches in NFL history.
Yeah. Well, and I think so we both ended the year 9-3. Now we both had the Chiefs winning by I had them winning by 3, you had them winning by 1 on a last second field goal. So we had to split that. So I guess we had to go with who was closer to the final score, or
you
how do you
definitely you won. You won.
I predicted.
I mean, you got closer to the score.
Yeah, insane. But both of us went 9-3 on the year, and we were correct. One possession, Chiefs winning. I don't know, man. I feel like people really. I mean, you got to start listening, man. They got to start listening,
right? Yeah, I mean, I called the last second field goal for the win.
You did, yeah.
And this is something that came to me this morning. I'm like, we talked about the breakdown of position by position, and one of us took the Chiefs special teams, the other one took the Eagles, and that special teams had 2 massive plays: the game-winning field goal and that Kadarius Toney punt return.
I know.
And as soon as he got past that first defender, I looked at my desk and said, they're in trouble. They had that wall built on the sideline.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and he just, I was like, yep, that was like, if that guy makes a tackle, we may be having a different discussion. But he breaks that tackle, and as soon as he did, I was like, yep, they're in trouble. And takes it down to the 5-yard line. They score a couple plays later. Yeah.
Sky Moore got in the end zone. Dude, I did not expect that to happen. And almost a very similar play design that Tony was there earlier. So you saw that we had Dark Horse. You had Chris Jones. Neither of us had the Mizzou product. And we were both texting like, man, if that other fumble 6 would have counted, we could have had a defensive MVP for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Bolton had him in the game.
I know.
He absolutely had him in the game. And we talked him up last week, when we were breaking down the positions, and we were both like, man, Nick Bolton is in the next year, so he's going to be in that conversation of the best middle linebackers in football because he covers well. He incredible in the run game, and he just tackles. He is a tackling machine. And I was hoping that one would have counted because I was like, it'd be awesome to see someone other than a quarterback win it. But man, they have a chance to have an incredible defense if those guys can all just keep on progressing the way they do. I mean, I was a big fan of Trent McDuffie coming into the draft, and when they got him, I was like, oh, that was an incredible pick. He's going to have to be able to stay healthy. That's going to be his biggest. But I mean, you got your linchpin, you got your quarterback on defense with Nick Bolton there.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it was. I just kind of. And it wasn't a catch. So let's take this. This is a great moment. The refs, I thought, overall did a great job. I'm a Chiefs fan, so everyone's going to say that. But if you're gonna call me out on that, you sent me a link yesterday, Tebby, about the corner who said, no, I held him. I was just hoping they let it go. I hope they let it slide because it was a big moment. So he admitted it was a hold. 9 total penalties in this game. For not even 50 yards. I mean, the refs let these guys play, but both these teams are so well coached that they weren't making a lot of mistakes. There was a couple offsides, a couple false starts, a delay game, things like that. And how big was didn't take the timeout early. They took the delay game. They ended up converting it anyway. The Eagles did, and then had to take a timeout later on. I think in the same drive. And how big that one timeout actually was.
That one timeout, yeah.
I mean, imagine the difference in that game. The Chiefs probably do score the touchdown, and that leaves even more time for them to go score because, man.
Yeah, we got to get away from the narrative that one play was the deciding factor of the game because it wasn't. It's even – and this is where it made me like Sirianni so much more was the post-game conference afterwards. And they're like, man, that one penalty. And he's like, it's not one play. It's not the one penalty. He said, I'm not the one making that call. He had to do his job and he made the call. It was a hold. He's like, but it's not that one game, that one play. It was the accumulation of every play throughout the game. The Chiefs were just better than us tonight, and that's where, I mean, to me, he won a lot, of points, and with me going, he took the defeat with grace, and it. I think looking at way he acts on the sideline before the games, I probably would have never thought that's how he would have been. I would have imagined him immediately going in there and going, "Man, we got hosed. That was a terrible call."
No, he didn't do that at all.
And no, and he didn't. And the fact is, it was a hold. Anyone that wants to say it wasn't a hold, it was 100% a hold. And they're like, "Well, they didn't call a single holding penalty until then." But you can't choose when and when not to call the penalty. I don't care if it's at the late game, Super Bowl. Do I wanted to see the Super Bowl end that way? No. Everyone, we want to see excitement. We want to see Jalen Hurts get his chance. But the ref has to call that. He can't not decide to go, well, I didn't call it, earlier in the game. I missed that one, so I got to make up for it now. Or I called one early in the game. I can't call this one. It was a bad call. He has to make that call, because if not, then you got the Chiefs fans that are going to be mad about it. So it was a lose-lose situation. But when the player comes out and says, I held him, I tugged on his jersey, it was a holding penalty, everyone should just drop the narrative there and going, oh, well, okay, he accepted fault, and instead of saying, well, you can't call that in that instance, right there in that game. But you have to. You can't choose when and when not to do your job.
Yeah. Well, so my thing is Bradbury, right? That's who it was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he admits it, so okay, we're good. We're done there. I mean, so you can't argue about it. When he got the script that he was going to hold him on third down and go, no, I'm kidding. He's like,
then,
man, I mean,
then everyone's trying to.
In the moment, that would have been amazing.
Right? Look down. Oh, sorry, I was just reading my script for after the game.
I'm supposed to hold him.
Yeah, so. But there's also, everyone's trying to make the argument, oh, it was uncatchable. You can't make that argument if you don't know football, because
uncatchable is for pass interference.
Yes, that rule does not apply to that play.
Yeah.
The hold is before the hold is before the ball is thrown.
Yeah.
And my thing is too is that if he doesn't get held and doesn't throw him off his route, there's a chance that he blows past Bradbury and catches that ball in the end zone. Because I think he pulled up a little bit, and Dan Orlovsky, we bring up Dan a lot on it because he's had some, especially over the last few weeks, had some terrible takes. He goes, well, you saw Juju, he wasn't over like mad that they didn't throw about the flag or whatever. I'm like, I think there's a good chance that he saw the flag, because that ref threw it literally right in front of him as he's running his route. So why, if he does see that, why would he throw a fit about it if he knows that the flag's been thrown?
Exactly.
And I think he pulled
all
up
the time. Any Sunday during the season, that happens all the time. Quarterback's like, I'm not mad. I already saw the flag.
Yeah, and then he tries to bring in this other play in the first or the second quarter where Bradbury grabs Juju, but he's like, see, that's a hold there. And then the thing that blows my mind is that on Get Up this morning, there was 3 defensive guys, and then you had Dan Orlovsky talking about this play, and every single one of the defensive guys said that was a hold. He had to throw the football. He had to throw the flag on that play. And Dan Orlovsky, the one offensive guy, is the only one that's mad about it. And he's like, well, see, that one was, that was a hold there. And Ryan Clark was like, actually, you're wrong. That wasn't a hold. That was a pass interference. He didn't, if they were going to throw a flag, it would have been pass interference. But he didn't turn his body. He just had a hold of his hip. And that's why they didn't throw the flag. And Orlovsky, all he did was sit there and just shake his head. I'm like, you're just mad that, these guys prove you wrong about it. But, yeah, I was just like, the fact that you want to blame one play on the deciding factor of the game isn't that, because it was the accumulation of the whole game and the adjustments that Andy Reid and Spagnuolo and Bieniemy and all them on that coaching staff made in the second, at halftime going into the second half that won them that football game.
Yeah, and earlier in the chat, Randolph said the game could have gone either way, and it literally could have. I mean, just a bounce here or there, and it could have. And the full 4 quarters, I think it would have been great to have seen. If not, it looked like we were looking for overtime there for a second there, but it was the heave by Hurts at the end. I don't think he got to talk about it too much. That was pretty bad. I don't know what it was.
I think he lost his footing when he went to go throw the football.
That makes sense.
Because when he planted, he just looked weird whenever he went to release. And we can as Oklahoma fans, we can blame this all on Oklahoma State because they are the ones that developed the turf, the grass for that Super Bowl.
And that was the biggest nemesis this
Yeah.
whole game was the stupid turf. Way to go, Cowboy fans!
Right? The worst part of the Super Bowl was the field situation, and it's all because of Oklahoma State. See, it makes me like Oklahoma State even less because you took part of the Super Bowl and just kind of threw it down the trash because you're terrible growing of grass.
And you shouldn't be.
Right?
What else is there to do out there? Okay.
You developed this for 4 years. They paid you $800,000 for this.
Should have paid more.
And you didn't do it any good. So
yeah. $800,000 for something that takes 10% less water.
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Just saying.
I understand that Arizona has a water shortage. I've heard it. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say I really liked the way Phoenix did all of the Super Bowl promo stuff. I love the color schemes. I loved how they had like that. I guess you could say mountains. I don't know if that's what it's called there, but loved it. Love the Super Bowl hats for both teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs, with the I don't know if you saw those with like the little diamond on it. Oh, it was just a really good color scheme. Little side note there. And hats off. This Oklahoma Sooners quarterback won a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I knew you'd know it. I did see it.
Yep, so, definitely did.
Yeah, so if those didn't know, Blake Bell, the Belldozer, plays for the Chiefs. That's right. He's in tight end. Got a Super Bowl ring yesterday, which is pretty great. So I was texting a group of my friends during the game, and he's a diehard OU guy, one of the biggest OU fans I've ever met. And so he naturally, because of that, was going for the Eagles. He's like, just wants a good game, but he was leaning OU. And so that was what I was thinking. Hey, listen, Belldozer, you got your OU ring.
The first Oklahoma quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
Isn't that nuts?
You want to hear another crazy one? This has pertained with the Oklahoma player, and I did so much research trying to find this, and for everything that I have found in all the research that I've done, Creed Humphrey is the first left-handed center to ever win a Super Bowl.
Wow. Well, did you see his snapping in this game? Yeah. So many of them were like kissing the ground. I don't know what it was. I think he may have been getting off the block.
The crazy part is that was one of the reasons why he dropped in the draft, is because I don't think people realize that the fact that there's very, very, very little left-handed centers ever in the NFL. And I guess some quarterbacks are like, the way it comes at me, it's a little different than a normal right-handed snapper. And so, some teams were concerned about it. And, well, obviously it's not that big of a deal because Creed Humphrey's top 2 centers in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think you asked Patrick Mahomes before we make that pick. You're like, hey, how do you feel about this? If he falls to us, we want to go after Creed. And he's like, but he's left-handed. He's like, listen, man, I don't need to look where I'm throwing the ball. Yeah, right. I'll take. Just give me a guy who can block for me really well.
Yeah,
I just lost the Bucs in the Super Bowl. Just give me someone.
Yeah. You give me the best one, and I'll take him. I don't care if he's snapping with his feet. Whatever he's got to do to get me the ball and block for me. That's all that matters.
Love Creed Humphrey.
I thought that was. I was like, it's a crazy one to think of. That the only, or it may have just been starting center at least. There may have been backup, but only starting left-handed snapping center to ever win.
There you go. That's a heck of a stat right there, if you'll call it a stat. Man. Yeah. I was wearing my Dante Hall jersey during the game. I was watching it, and one of the biggest plays was from the special teams, Kadarius Toney punt return. I felt good about it.
Human joystick.
I
love Dante Hall. Yeah.
My buddy of mine, he was wearing the Tamba Hali jersey. Someone else was Tony Gonzalez. It's just lots of jerseys. It's kind of like I imagine the Dodger Stadium's like this. I've never been there yet, but I'd like to. But when you go to a Cardinals game or a Chiefs game, there's all different eras of jerseys that you're seeing, and they're old jerseys too. Like you're seeing like that thing's been washed a time or two, right? And so you see that in Cardinals games with different legends and stuff like that. So it's just nice.
Yeah, see, that's the way I am. I love my stars and my team, but if I'm going to start collecting jerseys, I want it to be of the more obscure guys, the guys that no one wants to talk about. Like when it comes to baseball, my first jersey I'm purchasing is going to be a Shawn Green jersey.
Oh, nice! Yeah,
Shawn Green is my favorite player ever at Dodgers, and I don't know why. I
It
just
shouldn't be, but okay.
yeah, he was my guy back, in the early 2000s. And so that there's a I'm trying to get a Packers Don Majkowski jersey. And if anyone Packers wise, if you know the Magic Man, he was the guy before Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And so
Got
yeah,
hurt.
so yeah,
Never got to play
just
again.
yeah, just I like the more obscure guys. You can go out and you can find any a million Aaron Rodgers jerseys. How many
Yeah.
people are rocking a Dan Majkowski jersey?
No, dude, I think that's great. I love it. And it's
Or
what you gotta
like
do.
my card I sent you the picture of Antonio Freeman.
Yeah.
I mean Antonio Freeman, one of the craziest catches you'll ever see. Monday Night Football, falls on his back, the ball's on his back, turns around, catches, grabs it and runs it in for a touchdown. I mean, one of the most obscure, insane touchdowns you'll ever see in football.
Yeah. Back when Monday Night Football was on ABC and it was incredible.
Yeah. And when you had, John Madden and Al Michaels.
Just not even fair.
Not Troy Aikman and Joe Buck.
Not your biggest fan. I get it. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And same with Olsen. Greg Olsen. Great
player. I don't enjoy Greg Olsen. Thank you. Stephanie didn't either.
Yeah. Greg Olsen, we got to get him off there. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be calling the Super Bowl.
2 years it'll be Tom Brady. You know for a fact it's gonna be because they're like we got to get the guy who's won so many of them. We got to get him.
Yeah,
we got to get him.
They got to try to get their own Tony Romo, someone that can do all this before it snapped. I mean, to me, and I know Tony Romo's kind of went a little crazy the last year or so, but man, I enjoy listening to Tony Romo break down the game while it's going. I think he's one of the better commentators, analysts, game by play-by-play guys in football. I so much want to see him on at least Monday Night Football, or at least have a contract where he gets to call every single Super Bowl.
We'll see. I do think it's going to be Tom Brady. It's not even like if he wants to, it has to be this year. Otherwise, he's going to miss that window because you're not going to have him and Tom Brady unless you're going to do a three-man crew, which they don't do.
No.
But the way you describe it this year, just keep your heart open for I almost said Aaron Rodgers, for Alex Rodriguez calling a game. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. Regardless of the fact that the dude cheated, lied, cheated again, and all that stuff and steroids, he calls a great game and he breaks it down the way someone who really loves baseball loves it. I'm just saying, you got to be open to it, man.
I'm still questionable on A-Rod.
I know, but just open a little bit. Just crack that door. Okay.
I say it may be all the other stuff that's just clouding it because like I said, I was never an A-Rod fan. Even before the Yankees, all that stuff, I was never an A-Rod guy.
Yeah.
And so that may be clouding my judgment just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to figure something out on Fox because, like I said, Greg Olsen isn't the guy that needs to be called. And it's nothing against Greg Olsen. He's a good, every Sunday, a few games, he does one every Sunday, even if it's not, broadcasted, whatever. But we need the best of the best, when it comes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Greg Olsen's just not there.
Yeah. Well, so got a couple quick notes, and there's just anything else from the Super Bowl that you had. Nothing else. No other thoughts.
No. I think I blurted out everything that I needed.
A heck of a breakdown, man. Heck of a breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes, you already said it, but you just got to listen.
You just got to listen.
We try to tell you guys, beginning of the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, all this stuff. We try to tell you the AFC Championship game. Don't sleep on Patrick Mahomes. Everyone was sleeping. Joe Burrow. We were like, nah, it's not. It's Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Super Bowl. Everyone picking the Eagles. And the fact people are like, oh, I don't know where the narrative came that the Chiefs were the underdog. Well, literally, they were the underdog.
Yes.
Vegas had them as the underdog.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking, counting them out. I mean, we've had people talking like they were going to get, 20 points, put on, more. You're going to lose by 20 points.
Yeah.
Insane. If you actually thought that was going to happen, you need to listen because I mean, we called it. Chiefs winning. I literally called the Chiefs winning on the last second field goal.
Yeah, I know. Nailed it.
Yeah, 9-3. And a couple of them, could have went the other way.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to look back at our other games. Obviously, we lost. Which one was that?
Say, I missed the Chargers Jaguars game,
Yeah.
and that took the Jaguars coming back from what was it, 24 down.
I may have had the 9-3 wrong. Let me walk through this with you. So Tampa Bay, you picked Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Chargers, Giants, Cincinnati. It's only one loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, two.
What?
I missed Chargers and the Buccaneers. And then the next week, we both missed the Bengals.
No. Wild card round.
Yeah.
So the wild card round, Tampa Bay played, but Dallas did. No, Dallas did.
No, Dallas beat Tampa Bay.
Right, because it was Monday. That's why it's on here.
It is right. 9-3 is right. Yeah, 9-3 is because after that we only missed one game, and it was the Bills-Bengals game, and that was when we were like, man, the Bengals offensive line has 3 guys out.
I know.
You're playing in Buffalo, and they proved us wrong, and so we, but after that we went perfect.
I know.
We didn't miss a single game.
Perfect. And you know what? That is so close to perfect on the whole postseason. If it wasn't for an epic collapse, 27. I mean, I'm just saying, so many things. So many things.
Yeah. And what, 90%, I would say probably most people were picking the Buccaneers to beat the Cowboys, because how many times have we seen the Cowboys choke in the playoffs?
Win a playoff game. That's the banner.
Yeah.
We won a playoff game.
Yeah. So, I mean, we did pretty solid job.
I know. That could be our tagline. Nike has just do it. Ours is you just got to listen.
You just got to listen. Yep.
Yeah. And, that goes both ways. You just got to listen because, I think we feel like we had the record to prove it, not just in this, but in other things.
Yeah.
But then we also, we're a good podcast. We got great people who participate in the chat and come and support. We greatly appreciate all that kind of stuff. But that's why you just got to listen. Got to be here.
Yeah. I mean, we talk sports, but then we have our fun little talks, just about random stuff too. We keep it lively throughout the whole time, the whole time.
It's not stale.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So, quick thing on the NFL. We did briefly mention earlier, the Colts finally got a new head coach coming from Philadelphia. I think that just makes sense. We'll see what it does. He's got a mess to figure out, and he's got an owner that is an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So
that's rough. No, because I mean they took another Eagles head, offense coordinator 4 years ago, and Frank Reich. Yeah, and Frank Reich shouldn't have been fired. Just
no, he should not have.
On record, again, Frank Reich should not have been fired.
Yeah.
But I love Shane Steichen and what he's been able to do, where they took their offense and we can run our offense and just run our offense, and who cares if the quarterback fits, and they were able to take their offense and mold it around the abilities of Jalen Hurts. And I think that speaks a lot to a guy that can, help build a team up. And sounds like they're really big on Will Levis of all guys.
I know. But hey, maybe Will Levis will be like the Josh Allen of this draft class, where like you and I, neither of us, I guess that's where we can say, well, we got to, we were both wrong about that one.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, there's a guy out of all of them, offensive wise, that could do it. Maybe Shane Steichen. Yeah. And there is a chance that Gannon, the defense coordinator from the Eagles, may get stole also. He is one of the finalists for the Cardinals job now. It's between him, Mike Kafka, offense coordinator for the Giants, and his name slipped my mind, Bengals defense coordinator.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think he needs a job at some point too.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So you have that, and I do like the NFL considering hiring of head coaches back into the Super Bowl. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah,
because these other guys, you're waiting on them, and so then you had to gamble. Well, do I want to put my eggs in this basket? I think it just makes sense. Wait on it.
Yeah, and it gives these guys that are coordinators a chance to focus on their job. I mean, we've seen DeMeco Ryans. He had to cancel, interviews because he had to prepare his team for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense to go, okay, push it back till after the Super Bowl, and then they can have all their focus on, the interviewing job instead of, I got half my focus on, I got an interview today, but I also got to prepare my team for playoffs.
Yeah. And to keep the NFL in the headlines even longer. I mean,
Yeah.
it just makes sense for them to do that
Mhm.
eventually. Derek Carr also said he's not going to accept any trade. Good for him. I wouldn't either
I
after
would
the way
love
they've
it.
handled it.
Right.
And why would you want to go to a lot of these places? He definitely hold out as long as he can and get
Oh, yeah.
paid as much of his money that they already agreed to pay him. This
Yeah,
is a business. That's why he got benched. It's a
Yeah, he's
business.
getting cut. And so I love the power move. He saw, I've got all the chips. I have the no trade clause. They can't trade me anywhere I don't want to go. And I think the Saints are still a legit team that he's going to. I think right now I pick the
Dude, they have
Saints. I think
no money. They have absolutely no money.
and it works out perfect for him because if they trade him, that's $40 million that they have to try to find. Try to trade for him. So he may be able to take a little, lesser money to go there if that's where he's wanting to go, and maybe a prove it deal. 1 year with an option where the salary goes up this much, and
Yeah.
And so I love that he was, they gave him a raw deal.
Mm-hmm.
He gave everything to that franchise, and you bench it for Jarrett Stidham.
We want to see what he's got. Nothing.
Yeah.
We already told you
And
what
so,
he's got. Just got to listen.
Yeah, I love that he was able to, make that, decision and go, okay, now either you're going to pay me $40 million or you're going to cut me, and I'll pick where I want to go. And you won't get any compensation for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about it, is that you had a chance. You let him play out the rest of the season, then you trade him. Maybe he doesn't make this move.
Yeah.
But you disrespected the guy that gave his first 7 years of his NFL career to that franchise, and you disrespected him.
Yeah. Raiders doing what Raiders do.
Yeah. I love it for him. Go pick who you are, and heck with the Raiders, you're going to get the raw end of the deal.
Yeah. And free agency starts, I think, March. So we got a lot. Free agency will happen. We'll have the draft prep will happen. So a lot more NFL, though. Don't worry. I don't know that we're going to cover the USFL much. But they did announce that's in April. So football is coming back in a month and a half.
Oh, no. Football's coming back Saturday.
Wait, is that which one's that?
XFL starts Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm good. Let me breathe a little bit.
You ain't going to watch Bob Stoops?
I'm going to support Bob Stoops. That doesn't mean got to watch him. Love old Bobby Stoops. No, I'm full on into baseball. But before we do that, let's just mention, we mentioned at the top of the show, OU and Texas are headed to the SEC. You heard it here first, people. Well, I mean, if you go back, if you rewind the tape, you heard it here first, people. They will not finish out the contract with the Big 12. And yes, they are headed to the SEC after this upcoming season.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, you just got to listen.
You just got to, we said it. We've been saying it forever.
Yeah. And so I'm still, there's still people that are like, I think it's bad. I think I'm still under I love it, because now I think it accelerates the recruiting even more. You go, okay, you want to play in the SEC, but you go to Alabama, you go to Georgia, you may be sitting for a couple of years. You come to Oklahoma, you may not have to sit. You may just be able to come right in and play, and contribute in the first, your first year.
Yeah.
And
well, that and just the difference that it makes a recruit knowing that they're going to be playing guys like Auburn or, I want to say Mizzou and A&M, but because that's just the division I think that the OU is going to end up being in. But Alabama, LSU, Florida's, rather than, even if Florida's not any good right now, rather than another team, like Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston. Not that there's anything wrong with those teams. Those are not Power 5 teams yet. And so it's just going to look a lot better for a recruit. We're going to be able to play in some massive crowds. I think hopefully it jumpstarts. And again, can't argue with Brent Venables has been a great recruiter, and he also has a lot of roots in the South, and that's what you need. You got to be there. You got to go there. That and like the Midwest and some of those areas like Ohio, where you can get a lot of really good talent there.
Or the DC area. He is a
very good, over on the East Coast. Yeah.
I mean, he recruits Florida really well. He recruits Texas really well, and Georgia really well. Those are the 3 hotbeds right now in recruiting. California, you're going to have all those players and stuff.
Flashy.
They're just not built the way they are in the South.
They're not. And both you and I are both like, get off my lawn. Give me some old school tough guy. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, but it's the facts. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because who has ran college football the last 15 years?
Exactly.
The SEC. And they play a different style of football than any other conference in college football.
Yeah.
And
so this is the last year for USC and UCLA in the Pac, right? This upcoming season.
Yep.
So the college landscape is going to look way different in 25.
Yeah.
I mean, there probably could still be a couple minor changes. Maybe the Pac-12 picks up someone else, like that. But I don't know. They sound like they're going to stand pat. But you look at Link. I don't want to be too forward thinking, but whenever we say "I told you so," because you just got to listen. We got to really put that on a shirt or something.
Yeah,
or on another sticker. We're going to say they're struggling with those early big noon kickoff games across the country. I mean, they got to play Maryland today, and going all the way across country. It's not like OU going across playing West Virginia at 11 o'clock, which to them feels an hour earlier. This is like 4 hours difference. So at big noon means you're getting there, and it's 11 a.m. on the East Coast. And then if you're doing that actually feels more like 7, 8 a.m. But plus you got there earlier. Who plays football at 8 a.m.? I'm just saying.
Yeah. And it is a huge difference. And they're going to be playing a much more physical type of football too in the Big Ten than they are in the Pac-12. It's facts.
Yeah.
You are playing the least physical amount of football in college football in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
You have two teams that play, you've got two really teams that play physical football, and it's Utah and it's Oregon. And Utah beat you twice this year.
Yes, they did. One very handedly.
Yeah. And Lincoln Riley, with
the less talented quarterback too.
Yeah, and like I said, we're beating a dead horse because we've said this how many times, but it's the facts. Lincoln Riley just does not know how to change his ways when it comes to these teams are going to play this power, 3 tight end sets. Then I'm gonna have to try to figure it out. Or this team is going to play more physical on the edges when it comes defense. They're going to hit me. They're going to actually tackle. They're going to play physical. And Lincoln Riley teams, they're just not physical. They like the lean speed, but the lean speed does not win. No. You have to have the big man in the middle. I mean, look at Georgia the last 2 years. The defensive line has been the big calling card for them the last 2 seasons. It's because they had the big guys in the middle, the big physical defensive, linemen that you need to win in the game, college football now. The spread offense, it works and all, but you don't have that defense, you don't have that physicality, you ain't going to win. And Lincoln Riley's just not known for that. Vinny Wiley is arguably the most overhyped strength and conditioning coach in college football. You look at the guy and you go, oh man, that guy is built. So he's going to know how to build these guys. No, he's trying to take weight off them, try to make them faster. Oh, you're 300 pounds. You can't play on my defense. Yeah. Well, that's not going to win you games when it comes you playing Alabama, Georgia, even Ohio State, maybe Michigan. They play a different brand of football than you do out west.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, we've got a long time to go from that. And before we get there, probably in the spring season, we'll do, some early power rankings, things like that for college football. So that's why we brought you to the W Podcast. Don't worry, we're not done talking about college football. We're not done talking about football, period. We'll continue along because there's going to be lots of storylines for it. But this is going to be one of our first things that we're going to transition as we go into baseball season as pitchers and catchers report this week. I mean, Wilson Contreras is already in Florida, already catching with Alabama. Yeah. I love it. And that's before they're supposed to. I mean, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, right? The transition period. It's like lines up perfect.
I know.
But most teams are going to be reporting on Wednesday. I guess you can technically say the NFL season will technically end on Wednesday with the Kansas City Chiefs parade. And then you got the pitchers, catchers report, and then you got the World Baseball Classic coming up. It's baseball season. I'm super excited to talk some baseball. And
so there's not a whole lot of news and notes right now for baseball as we go into it. The one minor thing that we could talk about is you got a hurt pitcher who just signed with the Dodgers. Alex Reyes, good luck with that, dude. One of the highest rated prospects ever completely obliterated by injuries all throughout his career. He just can't stay healthy, and he's still going to miss months this year. So
it's the Dodgers.
the Dodgers they did it with
our MO is reclamation projects, especially when it comes to pitching.
yeah.
And if the dude can stay healthy, to me, and this may be biased, but I think Mark Prior is the best pitching coach in baseball.
Okay.
What he has done over the last couple of years with some of these guys that people just throw away, and the Dodgers go out and grab him, bring him in. I mean, Tyler Anderson, who saw him winning 14 games last year. Tony Gonsolin, same thing.
Yeah.
You got guys in the bullpen that people just injury ridden. We can't do this. They come in and he fixes them. And they even said, and this is the exact reason why Noah Syndergaard came here. He said, I know that he can fix me and get me back to what I was. And I mean, injury things is nothing they can control, but if he can stay healthy, I mean, you could see one of the better closers in baseball.
They also got JD Martinez. I mean, that's one of those man, had a down year, but hey, you come back, who knows? This guy could absolutely take off. He's 35, so it's he's still his prime. Dude, it's not like that's a big deal at this point, I don't think, especially with the Dodgers. No. So they also signed David Peralta, who's back in the NL and in the NL West, should help his numbers. He didn't do very good in Tampa Bay last year, but a whole new league for the first time, all new pitchers. It was pretty tough to make that transition. So, David Peralta was drafted by the Cardinals in 2004.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. But, I mean...
drafted. Signed. Sorry, he was an international signee. Still. Insane.
I mean, I like it. I think it's a great depth move for the Dodgers because they are thin in outfielder right now. Yeah. And this upcoming season for the Dodgers is going to be a different one that I think we've seen in the last few years because there is so many questions compared to, the past seasons. I mean, who's playing third, who's playing shortstop, who's playing second base, who's playing center field, who's playing left field. Yeah.
Yeah. So that right now, Fangraphs has David Peralta playing left field, Trace Thompson playing center field, Gavin Lux at shortstop. Second base is Miguel Vargas. Yeah, it's not good, but here's why. Dodger fans, calm down. It's fine. Oh, no. I got you, Tubby. Here's why. Because next year, guess what you're doing? Or at the trade deadline, you're going to get Shohei Ohtani, and you're going to be happy because then you're like, he can play DH, but we want JD to play that. So we're going to do something the Angels didn't do, have him play right field and get a Gold Glove, get a Silver Slugger, get a Gold Glove for pitcher, get a Cy Young. Oh, it's going to be so difficult. MVP. So Dodger fans, take solace. It's going to be okay.
And the thing is, a couple of those guys you named off, I don't know if I think there's a very good chance that we see a lot of young guys this year because you've got so many of these guys that are on the doorstep. They're knocking and they were waiting because there was nowhere to play. Well, now these guys have the opportunity to play. I think Miguel Vargas is going to be the starting. It sounds like he's going to be the starting second baseman.
Yeah.
I think Muncy will end up playing third.
Yeah.
And then I would not be surprised if James Outman is starting in center at some point.
Yeah.
And Trace Thompson is a great defensive center fielder, but it's not much different from what we have with Bellinger. So I want to see these young guys get their shot. I want to see James Outman come up because we saw flashes of Outman and Vargas at the end of this, August, September of last year. And I'm a huge fan of Vargas. I think Vargas has a chance to throw his name into the Rookie of the Year, race next year. And then there's a couple other guys. You got, Michael Busch. He's knocking. I mean, the guy hit 34 home runs last year in the minor leagues, and most of those were in AAA. I mean, and then you got Bobby Miller. He's going to be pushing for the, sometime. Pepio. You got Gavin Stone, another guy that came out of nowhere. The Dodgers, I think they had, it was 8 pitchers that Baseball America was talking about. They have a grade of 45, which means you're either back into the rotation or the bullpen, and that's right now. And they're like, the thing is, most of these guys, they can improve and be, so they've got,
especially in the Dodger system, I think. Yeah,
they got this depth, especially pitching, where the Dodgers may be lacking this year. we're gonna have to count on Kershaw, a Syndergaard, Dustin May, injury prone, Gonsolin. Can he do what he did last year, or was it just a flash in the pan? Was it a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
So because Bueller probably not going to pitch this year. I would be very surprised if Bueller pitches this year, and if he does, it's going to be very late of the season. And if they make the playoffs, I don't see him getting a whole lot of run because of the injury. So
he's
got questions pitching,
but he's got Dustin May back. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and I'm happy about having May back because I think May is another guy. I mean, that two-seam fastball that Dustin May throws is disgusting.
Whew, guys, that's just a preview of our baseball preview. A little snippet. And it's not just because he's a Dodger fan. This is how it is for all the teams. Okay, this is what we do. We live and breathe football, and obviously baseball as well, and a little bit of other sports too. So here and there, we talked about like 30 minutes of basketball last week. So I don't even know how that happened.
There's one more thing, baseball, real quick. Did you see the new pitching rule that they approved today?
New rule? What is it?
Yes. So a position player cannot enter the game as a pitcher unless the team is winning by 10 runs, or they're losing by 8 runs, or it's extra innings. So I had this thought: what happens? Say you're in the Game 7 playoffs, and this won't happen because the Angels are awful. But Game 7 playoffs, Shohei Ohtani doesn't play in that game as a pitcher, but he's a DH, so he's considered a position player. You need 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th, and they want to bring in Shohei. You ain't gonna be able to bring it in. So I'm not. Does that rule apply to him because he is a pitcher, but in that game he's considered a position player?
On paper initially I was like, I like that rule, and now I'm like, I don't really care. Yeah. If it was a 6-run game and not 8 or 10 or whatever, I'd be like, I don't care if I'm like, listen, this is the last day of a 20 games in 20 days or 21 in 20 days. Yeah, let Molina throw an inning. I don't care. Let Pujols throw. That was fun. If I'm a fan and I stayed that late, I'm happy I stayed. So you know what?
I thought that's what at first I was like, okay. I was like, cool rule. And then after I started thinking about it, I was like, they could throw a wrench into things for a team, or just say Shohei does get traded to the Dodgers this year. Playoff game.
That's a very real situation.
That exact situation. If he is considered a position player in that game to start the game, is he eligible to pitch even though he is also a pitcher? And so I think that's where there's a gray area in that rule because he's really the only two-way player like that. Yeah. But that is a real situation because we have seen it in multiple series where you see a Bumgarner or a Kershaw or Greinke or Scherzer or someone, these front of the line aces come in to close out a series at the end of the game. And so if that's the situation, I feel like you're cutting whoever that is down, and you're hurting them for having a versatile player.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll see if it actually comes into play much. I think that's the one. Yeah. I mean, that's one scenario. One person.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 3 or 4 teams who have a situation where that could happen. But like you said, in the playoffs is the most where that would matter. Yeah. The Angels didn't make the playoffs, so we've got to worry about that this year. We talk about Anthony Rendon's going to go off for an MVP season again. No, not happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, guys, that is the episode. What an episode. What a ride. The NFL season has come to almost an official close. I mean, we'll be at the parade. I will be on Wednesday. So celebrating those Chiefs. How about them Chiefs? It's pretty good.
I mean, great win. Great NFL season, really. I mean,
it was.
And honestly, one of the best Super Bowls we've seen. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd most watched TV event ever.
Wow.
Not just Super Bowl, TV event. So, it was an entertaining game and a great way to end the season.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to say a quick special thank you to everyone who joined the YouTube broadcast today. Thank you so much for jumping in the chat and sticking with us. This is not a longer episode. It is if you're listening to the podcast version, because we went ahead and hit record right away. We had a little bit extra time. We thought, let's go ahead and go for it. So if you didn't know, if you haven't already, we do have a special giveaway going on right now. You can get a signed NFL player jersey. You can. All you got to do, it's pretty simple. What is it, Tubby? Let them know the details.
All you got to do is go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button, and that's it. Simple.
That is it.
I mean, you don't have to pay for nothing. We pay for shipping, everything. All you gotta do is hit that red button, and you're entered. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. And then once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll randomly pick the winner. And guess what? You're going to go get a free signed jersey. And you know what? We're going to do other things like that. Like I said, we got a new logo coming out. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a little more simple, a little more focused on the podcast. But now I'm already thinking we got to get one that says, you just got to listen. I think that'd be pretty fun. I'm going to talk to my wife.
Right. Yeah. Just got to listen.
Yeah. In the episode of the show, if you listen to it on the podcast, you can see all of our social media handles on there, all of the YouTube stuff. So be sure to go ahead, subscribe, download, share with someone new. But till then, guys, we will see y'all next week where we are going to run with some baseball news. Hope you all ready.
See ya.
See ya.